YouTube, just coming in last with my Telecaster. Hey, 3 people writing. How's it going? Yeah, so I've got a gig coming up, and I've got a chance of I'm kind of playing both the bands, the guitar one and the bass, the Black Sabbath bass one. So take 2 guitars, like one in a spare. Don't really need 2, but what ones to take? Oh, too much choice. I do kind of like this. Is this a bit boring though? Just having a Telecaster. The problem is this guitar sounds really good through the first pedal, but it's still sounding a bit spanky to me. Is it? Just because it used to be. Hey, Alvin! Or does it just sound like a Telecaster? Hey, Daniel! Well, Daniel, if I remember correctly, might not be you, but somebody mentioned looking out this guitar, which I think I could talk about, but I've not seen it for ages. Again, playing it earlier on, thinking, is this one of the ones I should be taking to this gig? So this is a I can't remember what year it is now. There's no point looking at the back because it's the Young Shui Dynasty or whatever it is type of code breaking, so it doesn't actually just say. I think it was 83 or 82. So this model was a sort of weird one, Europe only apparently, and it's sort of like the Doctor Who one, the SJ something. You got these guitars in the 60s. It's kind of upside down Strat, but it's not quite. It's a sort of odd one. There's only 2 in the range. It's got a headstock like a Yamaha Samurai. It's a little bit like an Explorer, yeah. It kind of feels, I was thinking earlier on, it kind of feels like a Thunderbird because it's got a pure ridiculous neck angle. I'm sure people would scream at that. Who was it that was talking to me the other day? It was Scott. Look, that angle is pure ridiculous. It might just be because it's so long. I think. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. So there's 2 in the range, the Japanese ones. There's this one, which is an SC400, which it should say in the Trust cover, but this Trust cover I don't think is original. And there's an SC600. They're both the same. They both look the same, apart from the higher up one is neck through. This one's a set neck. The other one's neck through, so you can see the stripes running through it, like you can on the Washburn Falcons. No, I haven't got to Discord yet. I will get onto it. Sorry, I forgot about it. I was looking through the chat earlier on, and I noticed it, and then I'll get a look at it tonight. What was that? Yes, so the one higher up in the range is the same as this, apart from it's a neck through, so you can see the bits. The thing I don't like about that one is it's got like a forearm chamfer on it, which kind of, because it's got like this fancy top on it, it kind of makes it look like those plywood strats you see when it cuts into it on the other model. I'm not sure exactly what kind of wood this is. It's pretty fancy, but it's got like a thin cap of whatever this is. So basically, apart from that, the same guitar. The thing that other guitar had was the more expensive one had coil tap, an actual coil tap, not a coil split. I was even checking myself there. So I noticed that this had the same pickups as the other one, and then fitted my own coil tap. So I've actually got a 3-position. I think the original one's it only taps outside 2 coils, whereas mine taps all 3. I don't think you got 9-pole switches in 1983 or whatever it is. There's also a cheaper one which I kind of keep seeing. Well, it's not cheaper, but I think it's a Taiwanese one. It's an SC300, I think, and it's like it's got a scratch plate. It's a bit more stratty looking, but I think it's the same. It's a very similar shape. I do quite fancy one of them, but the thing with this one is, so I remember I haven't started my bucket yet. There we go. Oiled up. Yeah, so it's got the same pickups as this, and I thought, well, I'll have a wee look out in the back, and it does have the extra terminal. So these are tappable pickups, so I just put that switch in myself. I thought I want to watch with that Ibanez Blazer I got last year anyway, but when I saw about a month before that, I had a shot of an Ibanez Blazer that had the coil tap in it. The Super 6 pickups are called Super 6 tap pickups, and it was I think it was the 600 model or something. The one I ended up getting for peanuts was the 500 model. So, but it has the same pickups. So I thought, yes, I'm going to be able to add the coil split, and you go in and there's no terminal. So I was a little bit. That's the only thing that disappoints me with that guitar. That's another contender for playing this gig. But anyway, if you don't know what coil taps are, I don't know what it sounds like. I don't know, it's less compressed and not as good on streams as it is normally. But so that's the neck pickup in single coil, and that's the neck pickup in full power. So you get kind of almost a P90. I'll just answer that question with a picture because I used it earlier on this guitar. What you want is electrical contact cleaner. This does have stickers from a cans of Monster I was drinking. But I could get in my what make this is. Doesn't really matter. If you get it from like a car shop on eBay, just give that a scoosh into your switch and chances are it fixes it. I don't know. Well, more than half the time. Not all the time, maybe, I don't know. 2/3 of the time, something like that. It's a good thing. Depends which kind of switch it is. Somebody asked me there if it was you get a switch that's not very good. It's it depends which switch it is. Sometimes see if you've got like I remember this happened to everyone I knew that had an Epiphone when I started playing the guitar, and everyone I knew had an Epiphone who played the guitar, and everyone within the first year had to take it back to the shop with the pickup switch being bad. And I remember thinking, oh, I was outside the 1 year. It was like 18 months after I bought it. I took it into Victor Morris. I was up here, yeah, the pickup switch is just, I'm cutting in. The guy goes up here, right, give it. Disappeared out the back and came back 2 minutes later and went, there you go, fixed. And I was like, wow. I mean, he never even asked whether I bought the guitar in there or anything like that. And basically, that's what he must have done. So I think because the leaf switches are kind of open, it's dead easy for dirt and stuff to get in at them. So you can sometimes go in and give them a bit of a scrape with a wee file or something like that. A 5-way from an Ibanez RG. I just put switch tip in if it's a humbucker. Ibanez, it might have a fancy switch in it, a cork switch. I put one in a Les Paul, a Spear Les Paul, which had a blade switch in it. Anyway, like a 3-way blade switch. I put a 5-way in, but the 5-way in a 2 humbucker Ibanez is gives you 5 sounds out of the 2 humbuckers. It's like the neck position is full humbucker. Position 4 is the neck pickup wired in parallel, so it's like sort of like a hump cancelling single coil. The middle position is both humbuckers. Position 2 is the inside coil and the outside coil, or one coil from each of the 2 pickups, and then position 5 is the bridge pickup. That's one of my favourite switches ever. Yeah, so if it's a Cortex switch, I'd maybe have a look and they're wired differently. the actual switch is different. Because I tried to do that Ibanez tip with a normal 5-way switch, like a Strat, and it doesn't do it. It's kind of different. It is kind of, yeah. So just, sorry, Sniff. I'm just thinking, yeah, so I would basically definitely try and clean that switch. Really just give it a scoosh with contact cleaner and run it back and forward half a dozen times, and it should start cleaning it up. Hey, Rocket Ronnie. But then with the coil tap in though, it's a totally different sounding guitar. Or full power. Yeah, so that's the corresponding thing, but if I go kind of. Yeah, spot a Marlin Explorer. I think I had a Marlin Explorer last year. Was it? I think was it Marlin State of the Art series, or it was the Honor, which kind of looks the same as Marlin. It was like a Star Explorer. Hey Jason, what's the latest with the vintage SG? The latest is I got the pickups, and I've not even had a chance to look at it yet. I can't decide whether to buy the proper pickup rings or try and make them. Because it's like I'm not sure, like it's only like 20 quid for the actual pickup rings that are on the Monkey SG made by John Birch. It just seems like if I'm going to cut them out, it's a wee bit of risking. Is it worth just spending the 20 quid on it? I think it is. That's kind of how far I've got. I'm also waiting for witch head knobs to come from China, and I'm not signing them, so I don't know. To see if I've missed anything. Yeah, Explorers are cool. I guess it's similar to Yamaha Samurai, but it's like kind of, this is an 82 or 83 or something like that. European only, kind of inspired by it a little bit. I think it was only made for a couple of years, but it does have the Samurai headstock. The body's not quite. It's kind of, it's just basically that, but it's just like a Strat, I think. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah, this is SC, and if you look up, there's another range of SCs. Yamaha, I think it's maybe before this or after this, and it's people call them the Super Combinator because it's got lots of switches on it, and it's like, yeah, that's a great name, and it's just not what it stands for. It stands for single coil. You're like, oh, why can't it be called Super Combinator? It's not. It's just single coil. And there's an SC 300 or 325 or something like that, which I do quite fancy. Nice, you get the Honda going, thanks for this. It was easy to get in. Just took the wires off the pre-wired loom, did it from scratch. Just need to get the ground sorted. Aye. Drop a like up and watch you a knife. Right, that's quite extreme. It's like, drop a like, that'd be great, yeah. I won't be throwing at you a knife though. Wee bit Yoda talking like you are. Yeah, but I really should be trying to play it clean. It's because I was trying to play Nick Bass, but I was like Teen Spirit. Cleans where this thing really kicks it. It's just, so you got the low output mode, which is just lovely. Well, I've got an alarm that's going to go off just before 9 o'clock because there's actually something on eBay I'm going to try and buy, assuming it doesn't go ramp up. So if I miss it, You can remind me. I'm obviously going to pure shit it when the alarm goes off, but I mean, yeah, it's a sound module for, it's like, I don't know, like an early 2000s thing, kind of that sort of size, same size as a Volca bass, apart from it's like a general MIDI sound module for a computer, but it would just run fantastic with my MIDI guitar, which would give me realistic-ish, well, 2000s realistic. Oh, hold on. My telly's saying it's going to go into standby mode. Okay. I don't have the remote for it. Yeah, so that can be interesting, because I mean, the thing is, I had one really good synth that had realistic saxophones and all that, and the MIDI guitar, when it worked, sounded fantastic through it, but the thing was this size, and I don't have room for it, whereas this thing's only a wee thing, so it'll just sit up there and it'll just give me full MIDI. So I need to remember that in 45 minutes. I don't know how far through the bucky I'll be. Good few folk have actually tried to buy this off me because there's something odd about it. It is a bit brown, being woody, but the coil tapping, as opposed to just it's whether I could do a whole gig without having. I think I am improv jazzing. Is that where you just play lots of notes wrong and keep going anyway? And leaving strange gaps. You want no tone in the neck pickup, don't you? And in low power mode. No, I can't play jazz. But it does sound like I do improvise all the time. Just make stuff up. I can't remember anything. Fire, because after Brown, it's a really hard one. It's definitely. That's got a lot of chords in it, and there was at one time I tried to do the. It's the prime tonic. It's Buckfast tonic wine, made in Devon, fortified wine. I did, to be honest, around about Christmas time, looked out. I've got two Washburn acoustics that are very similar, like a maple backed one and a Macassar ebony backed one, and they're both very similar. So I was thinking I don't really need to have two of them. So I was thinking of selling one, but I've changed my mind. It's like they're brothers. I found an advert in a magazine from like 1988 or whatever it was, and it's like the two guitars sitting on a railroad, like in the old deep south, and it's like I could remake that photo myself. Jazz is like Spinal Tap. There's a back where they're talking about jazz, and it's just all mistakes. And it's the skill in being able to actually play different mistakes every time. So I think it's Nigel Tuff. I'm sure he's like, yeah, because it's bad and it's intentionally bad. Oh, if anyone wants any t-shirts, then I actually counted them. So if anyone wants one, I get rid of two to Steve Murray, who's on here tonight. He bought a couple last week. I've got one medium one with black orange writing, and then I'll get 4 large and 5 extra large with just like white, and then 2 extra large orange, and then 1 extra large green. If anyone's interested, a tenner I posted. I was actually thinking, I don't know, how can I check? I was looking at it, I'm very nearly, I think I've got 9 more subs to get, and I was thinking if I've been a bit sneaky doing some corporate stuff and see if whoever it is the 1800s is a free t-shirt. So if you could get like, I don't know, I thought about this. It's just if you invite your pals and it's one of your pals, I'll give you a free T-shirt if you're number 1800. But it's just the single quality thing. I wish it's not the same. I kind of lied to myself, deciding that the Blazer, if you just turned the volume down a bit, it was the same as having the lower end pickups. It doesn't though. If you had to just email it, I'll just send it. If you because you'll have you'll have PayPal if you get eBay, I'd imagine. Malco@hotmail.co.uk. Hey, that Scottish dude. How many times have I seen AC/DC live? Oh, I can show off now. I saw them on the Ballbreaker tour at the SCCC, and they were awesome. A pure life-changing event, really. It was like still the 80s, even though it was like, I don't know, 2000, something like that, maybe a bit earlier than that. Because there was I'd gone into the SCCC, and there was all these bikers like driving their Harley Davidsons through the middle of the SCCC. Yeah, so I've seen them then, and I've seen them. Hey, Scottish dude. I can probably say Mr. Westwater sounds a very thingy actually, doesn't it? It's very Lord of the Ringsy when they go to Bree. Is that not? Is it Mr. Underhill? Something like that. Do I bother with the face pic much? People contact me on it, but I used to put more pictures on it than I do. I need to get a proper camera. It's just I'm now doing videos every day, so I just don't have time. Hey, Margot. First bit of change. Oh yeah, yes. Oh no, did you send me? Oh, you sent me a video to the Facebook page. I didn't get it, but I will have a look for it now. I know it's there. It might need. I'm not really sure. The messenger is a bit funny on the Facebook page. It's I can't post pictures, which is really annoying. I have to kind of download pictures. I can't copy and paste pictures off the internet in it. When I'm using the Mad Malco page, I don't know why it does that. It's pretty annoying. T-shirts are a tenner, and I'll post them. They're misprints. They're meant to say Mad Malco guitars, and they don't. They just say Mad Malco. So it's it's a bit of a mistake. So I'm basically just selling them for kind of what I bought them for. Just keep the rest myself. I suppose if you're like America or something, I don't know. I don't know. It probably wouldn't cost that much to post. I don't know. They squashed it in pretty much. Just put them in a jiffy bag. That's what I did to Stevens, and he got it already. I just basically, I don't want to shop anyone. No, more than one postman. One of my pals is a postman, and they gave me stamps at Christmas. So I think they get given stamps, like ones with Christmas trees on them, and I didn't really. I kind of went, oh, that's great, cheers. I didn't really realise how much he'd actually given me. Like a couple of pages. And I looked at it was something like 40 quid's worth of stamps. So I've just been sending things with stamps. Which is pretty good. Christmas stamps. I don't know if they work all year round, but. So is it going to make it into? I don't know if it's going to make it into the playing at the gigs. I really can't take more than two, really, because I don't need more than two. It's only a 40-minute set. So I was thinking of taking one with a. No, just a Christmas. Oh, it was kind of well. In that case, I'm not so impressed. Oh, the orange T-shirt goes well with the Pink Panther, doesn't it? Or just be a test. Oh, it's very different from that guitar. It's quite good, doesn't it? Hey, Pontiac! I actually, this was quite an event for me. I spent the most I ever have on a file just the other day and bought a fret crowning file rather than trying to do it. So it's quite, my pal had one of these and it was like, you can borrow if you want. It's like, no, I'm just going to have to buy one of these. How much was it? And it was like 25 quid or something like that. So it should be good. I don't know if you've got one of them for fret filing. I was just doing it by hand, but I did buy relatively decent files, these wooden handled ones. There's a triangular one and there's a flat one, and it made a huge difference. So you try to use those wee, there's one sitting there. These wee red needle files to do things. They're very good. They're kind of handy for poking things and for scratching the backs of pots. And I actually used them to cut out the switch, the lever switch that goes in the 25 sound guitar. It's got two lever switches. What I did have one of them before, or I've still got it obviously. But you can see it dusty as I never used that. It just didn't do. That does, I think, what this is meant to do. It's kind of, that was a bit of a waste of money. That was like £7 or something. Right, oh, yeah, I saw that, Roddy. That's why I didn't answer. Yeah, J&D Brothers. I don't know them. This point in guitar. Thin lines. The thing is, the thin lines don't really cost that much more, do they? They can charge more for them. I mean, all it is, it's only that bit there that's hollow. And a thin line, below the F hole, and enough you can stick your finger in all the way around. So it's not really a semi-hollow guitar. It's just got basically another pickup cavity with an F hole in it on the front, that kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, honestly, the Panteras are fantastic. I'm not sure about all the models. I don't really know anything about them because they're normally really expensive. But I mean, they just feel. Is it kind of like that? The I'm not going to get the name right. The Carparison I had a few. Basically, think that apart from it's a Strat more than a Les Paul. So it's kind of a bit more Strat scale and a bit more Stratty. But that kind of level. It is just playing it just now after immediately playing the Yamaha there. It's holding its own with that Yamaha anyway. Isn't it the spank on it? Yeah. No, I don't know how much they're worth. I need to have a look it up. I mean, my plan with this was I bought two of them, like for kind of the price I should have been able to get one for, sort of thing. And then one of them's been spray painted and looked pure hideous, and this one was pure man-cave. The frets needed done, and they weren't working. But I've got one of them working, and I'm really liking it. So I'm kind of hoping to try and sell one of them, the other one, and kind of get this one free. Or that's the plan, or something like that. I'm assuming I can get the other one. I didn't spend much time on this. This still needs the frets sorted and stuff like that. And it's still fine. I'm not quite happy with the Caller locking nut on it. I've got a few different locking nuts, but none of them are the actual proper Westtone one. I think the Westtone ones break. I've had one before that was threaded, and it's kind of like a Floyd Rose nut, but it goes behind. It's got a nut as well, so it's not licensed. And it's the wee blocks that go in it are like two triangles and a square in the middle, and are dead. There's just no chance of getting them. Maybe try to make them or something like that. But yes, over a Pantera, especially a pink Pantera, which I'd been talking about, looking about, and won it, and then I was actually showing it to my pal when I went to Pink Panther. I realised, the Pink Panther. Pantera's obviously Panther. Let's get a picture of a panther on it. It was when I said, I love the logo that's got a panther. I went, oh, Pink Panther. See the Christmas stamps. That I don't think I'll get into trouble with the law, but I didn't totally cheat. But there were two first-class stamps on it. They were from a packet of strings that I got the other day, and I just put them in the jiffy bag. And I was looking at those stamps and thinking, they're kind of no stamp or any sort of information on them. So when I handed it into the post office and said, how many stamps do I stick on? He said 5. So I put 3 on, and he went, that's fine. It's like, woo. So that's cheating a little bit, isn't it? So I probably shouldn't be admitting these things online. What effects do you use? I've got a few things. I just unplug them and put them to the Marshall amp. I used the looper. Oh, I'm lost. I'm lost. Yes, I love the loop pedal and the wee drum pedal. It's it's kind of I've always loved the loop pedal. The problem with the loop pedal is you can't just use the amp because then you've got clean going into the loop pedal, and if you use the distortion on the amp, it means it'll just turn the backing track distorted as well. So you need some sort of drive pedal in front of that. But I basically don't use any pedals just now when I'm playing clean. And when I'm basically, I think, see if you had one multi distortion or you had one good distortion pedal and you just adjusted it into 6 different preferable sounds, it's kind of what I've got there. So I'm kind of running a Joyo US Dream, which is it's kind of like an ampy sounding distortion. And then I've got a Mosky Rat, which is a sort of ampy type distortion with a bit of fuzz. And then I've got the Pi Twin Note, which is a fuzz, but it's kind of a bit ampy. And then I've got the Delamo Fuzz Face, which is a fuzz. And then I've got the Super Fuzz, which is a fuzz. And they all kind of sound a little bit different, but I basically only ever use one at a time. I've got a big line of all the sort of modulator pedals and stuff like that sitting in line with the amp there, and I very rarely use them. I actually used it the other day in this because I was playing cleaning this guitar. Just it screams backlit, dry ice in a black room, and I'm playing this and playing with tons and tons of chorus on it with a mullet. Yeah. Stumac file. They're $50. I know. It's the Stumac stuff's really expensive though. But the thing is, I can totally understand. It's the same thing that happens with if you're going to buy a drill. Like I've got a DeWalt drill. I used to be a joiner, so I've been spending basically all day building a fence with a drill. If that's what you're doing, it's totally you have to buy like the £100, £100 DeWalt drill. That'll last you all day, and it's so much better. If you're going to be like putting up one shelf or drilling a hole every month or something, you don't really need to have the DeWalt. I mean, it's nicer, but you don't really need to have it. It's the same kind of thing with the files. If you were doing it every day, yes, but I was looking for something who's maybe just fixing up their own guitars. I suppose I kind of like to do it every day, so maybe one day I'll get there. I'm sure it's easier. I haven't actually tried using the fret file yet, but when I've been doing it by hand, and it's like I managed to do it with needle files about 3 years ago, and then I managed to do it with those files in the last couple of years, so it can only get easier. Mine are hand done frets, none of this cheating. They're using a proper file. Not real thin line, but no, that is real thin line, as well as in real thin line Telecasters are like that. I did have one actually called a Woody, which was a real shame that it was called a Woody. That's a cartoon Woody logo on it, but it was like a double cut Telecaster, but it was proper. It had a centre block, but it was proper hollow all the way up here and all the way down here. That was just a really nice guitar. It was a sort of student grady thing. When I looked it up, I could find it in like primary or secondary schools, stuff where you could buy cheap keyboards, and that was one of the guitars that was there for like home. I think my daughter's thinking of playing guitar in 3rd year or whatever it is. And that was where they kind of got. I think that's kind of where it came from. What tools would come? Hellfire tools. I've never heard of them. Sound good. I mean, are they just like? I don't know. It's kind of. It's nice having nice tools. It has to be said. It's like that. I mean, it's like when I got a shot in my when the pal showed me that. It's like it weighs a ton and it's really nice. It's like I want to go and file stuff, rather than being sort of plasticky, which is nice. I mean, I remember getting a shot of a hammer or a joiner I was working with, and the hammer I've got is just like the one you get for. I think it was in clearance for £2, or I found it. It's like one of those hammers. And he had one that was like, it was pure like an aeroplane blade, the shaft on it, a pure super. It just looked like a hammer, but it was like pure. It was kind of like a Yamaki hammer, and it was it cost like £400 or something just for a hammer. It's like, but it was pure super carved wood and all that, and it was nice. It's maybe the sort of one that you would use for only hitting nails into woods, not like a normal hammer where you like try to smash bricks up and stuff like that, and windows and whatever else you're trying to do. Yeah. Comparison, there is no comparison. Oh. Believes that's the Tracy Elliott 3x12. It's a funny one. It was on Gumtree for months, and it said in it, you know, this is a guitar cab, not a bass cab, which is kind of weird for a 3x12 for a Tracy Elliott. I'm not sure what speakers it's got. I keep meaning to take it out or whatever. Does anyone know what kind of speakers it is that come with the cork bit on the front? You know, from your mounted from the back, but this one isn't mounted from the back, it's mounted from the front. But the cork stuff, I think they're Celestians, but I haven't taken it a bit to look at. Richie Sambora endorsed them. I found an advert of Richie Sambora standing in front of 50 of them, which I suppose they would spread. You know, it was like maybe, I think it was like 3 stacks high and maybe about 4 wide, so 12 of those cabinets, maybe something like that. And his rig with his guitar that doesn't look completely dissimilar to this. Yeah, but I mean, it really does make a huge difference. Everyone can see it. It's triangular, and it's like the difference that makes. I took it into the studio once just to test it, and it's like when you're in the studio, you've got your Marshall 4x12, and it's kind of, you have to stand in the right place so you can hear it. Whereas with that, you can stand anywhere, and it sounds it. So it's like with that, the rest of the band can hear you when you're sort of all facing each other in a rehearsal room. It might be a nightmare to mic up if you're playing a gig or something, but it really is fantastic. Especially see the bottom speaker, the way it's tilted back the way. It means that when you're standing here, you know, the sound's not just going out that way. You can actually hear it coming up. It's a fantastic thing. This Patchy's got a Joyo acetone. I don't know what that is. I don't know much about pedals. I've actually borrowed a few. Yeah, power tools. It's like, so top 3 power tools. It's the angle grinder. That's just a fantastic thing. I'm an artist with an angle grinder. I have angle ground things you wouldn't believe, boy. And yes, I do treat it as a guitar building tool. Angle grinder's my favourite, and then it's got to be the drill. I need to get the other drill off my dad, though. He's got a more modern one, the battery, and that we kind of stopped using it at work because it was the battery doesn't last very long. But it was just my guitar building one because it was fine. You know, it's like I'm not spending a couple hours putting up a fence with it ever. You know, a battery charge wouldn't last that long. But I'm only ever drilling, I don't know, maybe 4 holes for the neck or something, or you know, wee things. And then the third one is the jigsaw. I've got a DeWalt jigsaw as well. Yeah, only the best for me. So actually, my angle grinder, my DeWalt one burnt out. Well, actually, my DeWalt angle grinder lasted me about 5 years, and I angle ground about 20 miles worth of everything with that thing. And then it burnt out, and I got another one, and it only lasted for a couple of months, and then just died. I haven't thrown it out though. I might be able to fix it. The one I've got now is I think it may be a Ryobi. I don't think it's an expensive one. It's not the cheapest one. Yeah. Sorry. Getting a bit drinking bucky talking about power tools. It's like I'm talking too much. Trade Tuesday tomorrow. I need something to trade. Actually, I might have done a trade. With our pal Ronnie. I don't know. I wonder if that's Ronnie on here. Ronnie Rocket, probably is him. I wonder if he's coming round before Tuesday, trading something, maybe. Estwing hammer. Is that the type of hammer it was? It could have been. Yes. She must have the entire stock. Yeah, he might have. Great idea. What's the SG guitar look behind you above the linear amp? It's just last week's new guitar. Whereas this is this week's new guitar. I'm going through a bit of a spurt of guitars just now. Oh. This is the one above the linear amp because the one that's a Marshall amp and that is an SG. So must be this one. This is my Aria Laser, which I'm also really enjoying. It's very interesting. It looks like an SG. See, I didn't. Maybe it was in the shadows. I don't really know what I think of this to be look like. I was talking about this the other day. It doesn't really match the bass. That's the Laser bass from the same year. So it should be exactly the same. Different Ronnie. How well. Sorry, Ronnie. I mean, Rocket Ronnie. It's great. Who is it? Someone I don't know. Great. Yeah. Hold on. Catch up. Used to have one of them Yamahas. I wonder if it's the same one. Yeah. Oh, the Yamaha SG. See, I was standing in front of it, so I couldn't see it. That is an SG, even though I would argue that that's probably not SG looking. That was what I got the last trade Tuesday. Was my final score. It was a 1982 Yamaha SG. Very nice. It's unfortunately it's been stripped, but it used to be tobacco sunburst because the previous owner sent me pictures of it, and it definitely looks better than like this. It's too nice to really do anything with. I've got to put the original knobs back on it. Yeah, so I actually got a Yamaha SG, which is one of the most important. It's not the fancy one; it's an SG 200. So yeah, but this one does kind of look like an SG. Sorry, Bucky's going to my head. 20 minutes. So everybody's a Dremel. Yes, the Dremel is handy, but there's only one bit I ever use. I pointed it out last week. I don't know what I did with it. There's a bit that kind of looks like the thing from Total Recall. It's like, screw you, Benny. It looks like that. And I just use that for routing. I don't really use it for much else. Where'd you manage to keep all the guitars? I've got an attic. Too many. Yeah. It's guitar, you get used to stacking guitars. It's like, I've got sections that are just like, dun, 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 dun. You know, you couldn't fit. There's no air. They're kind of interlocked with each other. I'm on a quest just now to try and find gig bags for everyone. I think I'm just sitting just now. I'm about 10 gig bags. I'm talking anything that can be bin bag with a zip, anything that can be classed as a bin bag or a case. I think I still need about another 10. Yeah, the double cup makes sense. I couldn't see it. I looked at the wall, and because my head just now you can see my head's in front of the SG. Plus, I only put the SG up there just before I started the video. I need to widen the bridge pocket on my Vantage bass to replace the bridge. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, basically, you could do it with a router. I mean, I just kind of learned to use the Dremel like I was using the angle grinder sort of thing. If you use, hold on, can't be that hard to find. Where's my box with all the drill bits in it there? Oh. I need to move this stuff out into the garage. The problem is, I much prefer doing stuff in here. Maybe not so much of the sanding and stuff. I'm pretty sure I just threw one of them in here. There, that one. These are for, they say for steel. They look like that. You can see that it's like it's kind of like a router bit. This one's very well worn, but you can I kind of use that, and it's really good for, you can be really accurate and cut in the way and cut round the way. With that, I need to buy a box of them. They're dead good. Yes. And see if anyone's got a broken Dremel, give me it, because mine keeps breaking and I know how to fix them. I've thrown away 2 Dremels that I could now have fixed. I can take them to bits and solder them back together again. And there's like 4 dodgy contacts on the barrel inside it. And I've just replaced the 4th one on my Dremel. And each time it broke, it was one of the ones I hadn't already fixed. You know, they broke 1, 2, 3, 4, and the ones that I'd fixed all stayed. Don't need to do that. Wiring torture. Want to saw off my head? I don't use my head. No. Wiring's all right. It's like it can get dead annoying when you're trying to do it inside like a really tight cavity, and it's just like you keep burning. It's not so bad when it's your own guitar, but it's someone else's, and so you got to try and bend other wires out the way, because if they touch the solder and they get all burnt and stuff, and then they look at it and go, "Up here, all the Velcro's great at soldering, look at all the burn marks." I find that quite annoying. Also, I find it's quite good to. I've started doing this more recently. Cut the wires to a sort of reasonable length, and then try and it doesn't take very long. You just kind of route the wire through, cut it to the right length, and then put it on, rather than just having big loops of extra wire. It doesn't really make any difference. It's not going to affect the sound having tons of wire, but it just to try and keep it in order, and then also sort of trying to color coordinate a bit. I need to buy more wire with different colors on it. Yeah, I will send you a wiring diagram. Try and build one. Well, I think the only way to try and basically, if I gave you the lengths of the triangle and you just cut it out of plywood, if I give you the outside dimensions and then the length of the side of the triangle, that will give you all the right angles to do that, and then you just jigsaw a circular hole and stick a speaker in. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I need to check it to see how many ohms it is, because I'm pretty sure it was 16 and parallel makes it 8. I think it's a 16 ohm cabinet, because I ran that and the other 4x12 that I've got donated to this Ali studio through the Softtech, and the Softtech only has one speaker out, so they're both 16 ohms. The other cabinet's got a parallel out, so it puts two 16s in parallel, gives you 8. So I stuck it into the 8 on the Softtech, and it ran it. So it must be 16 ohms. How you get 16 ohms is that two 8 ohm speakers put together in series is 16 ohms. And then put in parallel with it with the other speaker being 60. I don't know. I'll look at it and I'll see what they say. Sometimes they don't say on them what ohms and all that. But yeah, it's totally worth building a cabinet. I just had to buy it because it just looks mad. It's not very often you see like a speaker cabinet that's quite interesting. It's like, yeah, mad looking speaker cabinet. I saw someone, I remember seeing Roger Daltrey playing All of Tommy, the armadillo in town, and the guitarist had pyramid cabs. So they were like triangles. So you had like two triangles and then one, or two triangles pointing up the way and then one sitting on top of it with his amp head. And it was kind of quite difficult to, because you could only stack them with each other. Kind of a bit bizarre, whereas it's just cool. Yeah, used to dream with one of the router heads to get an RG to take a Gotoff Lloyd. It just takes your time, and it's pretty good. So I mean, I think that you do get like a router attachment for a Dremel, but I mean, just having it like holding it like a pen and just being careful, just practicing. I'd be worried about doing it if it was like, you're talking about, oh, it's my dream guitar worth 1,500 quid. I don't do it, and it's pure sparkling mint condition. Maybe worry about doing that for the first time. Maybe buy yourself a wee Squire and then put 4 humbuckers in it to practice that stuff on a Floyd Rose. Yeah, I think we've caught up. There was something that I missed. Right, you need to write the bed pocket about it. Yeah, you said that the Vantage. I'm still not really sure which. Actually, does the Vantage have one of those 3-point bridges that kind of it's like a 3-point bridge, very similar to what's on an Epiphone EBO, because they always bend. And if you're looking for another bridge, the Epiphone ones fit perfectly, and you can get Epiphone ones. You can even use your original saddles, because my Aria PB had that, the bridge, because it's like a carved top, the bridge was totally bent like that. Because the bridge was bent, well, obviously the strings were on a radius of a pole. It was ridiculous. So that, because Vantage and Aria use the same parts, so that could be that. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm afraid it's a strictly invite only. I will have other gigs coming up though, because we've got to learn 40 minutes worth of set for both the bands. It's just like a garden party. I don't know. I certainly can't invite anyone. I can maybe invite one person. I don't know. I don't even know we need to work out what we're doing with amps. I don't even know what to do with the amps. There's 4 bands playing, but we're all kind of pals. I kind of know somebody in all the bands, and everyone knows somebody in one of the other bands, so it will be a Bucky party. He's actually, Ali's got me optics for he's got a bar. His man cave's actually got like a separate, basically a pub attached to it with a bar and all that, and he's bought optics, and he's going to have 4 bottles of Bucky on tap. I'd like to live stream the gig. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I'd like to film it as well. I was kind of thinking, Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus type thing. Could be really quite interesting. I got a hip shot 3-point replacement. The Vantage Bridge pocket is useless. I don't really know what you're talking about with the pocket. The Marshall the Black Sabbath thing. That is the one that I might take. Yes, I got that for nothing, or 30 quid or something like that. Something stupid for a 150 watt bass amp on Facebook Marketplace. It had been up for months. I just saw it and I kind of thought it was going to be a nice wee amp for there. I was kind of thinking that size. And I did see it said 15-inch speaker, but I didn't realise it was going to be quite as big as it was. I was really surprised, but it's we painted the name on it. This is the one I have actually used in Black Sabbath. That's 400 watts though, and it weighs a ton, and I had to take the actual seat out of my car to make it fit in it. So that one's kind of, I might take that. I don't know, that one's much easier and it's got wheels, and it fits in the back seat of the car, but I have to take the seats out. They're both basically exactly the same blade. I think that's a couple of years later. So this is like the premium at their best, their top of the range model at the time. Then a couple of years later, they brought out the valve state or base state version, which is all the same knobs in the same order, apart from a couple. That's got a graphic equalizer on-off switch, and some of the knobs are in different places, but basically exactly the same. The channel deserves more views. Really enjoying me. Andrews, keep up, mate. Yeah, I'm kind of basically. If I can't think of anything to say, I just have a wee drink of Bucky, and then something invariably comes to mind. I'm going to close the curtain so people walking past in the street don't think, why is that guy standing talking to himself with a guitar on? I'm pretty sure they must hear me play the guitar though. It's such a quiet street. It's quite spooky. Yeah, but Marshall amps, basically my Soft-Tech, which is my favourite amp ever in the world ever, is kind of like a Marshall JCM 800. It was a JCM 800 circuit, had point-to-point wired by Russians and using old submarine parts. So it's like the best JCM 800 you can get. Well, I think so anyway. If you want clean, then use another amp. It doesn't have clean. No, it's only clean when it's quiet. You turn it up and it's just pure. Thanks. Oh, we're getting there. We're going. So if anyone wants to play along, and don't bet against me, though, I'm going to turn on the my eBay purchase. I can't believe it. It's like this, doing this thing in the Sunday night. I've still got 8 minutes, but I still want to be typed in. Just amuse yourself. I'll not word out my 11 minutes. £46, 3 bids. Not in tune. As soon as someone mentioned the SG, I'll play it. Criminally underplayed by me, SG, because I just got it. A lot of these things come down to when I got it. If I got another guitar a week later or at the same time, then some guitars kind of fall through the cracks a little bit, which I'm afraid is what happened with this one. I've never been a huge fan of the shape. I've got a Hondo bass, and there's a Hondo guitar that looks very similar to this actually, or similar shape. I just think it kind of looks a bit deformed or something. I say that as well, but even the 2000 and the 3000, the really, really fancy ones that are pretty well known to be the best guitars in the world. And we've got a coil choice switch. So I don't know if it's inner, outer, and then humbuckers. What was that big Marshall? That would be the 2x12, the one that looks like a blues breaker. That one is an artiste. And when I got it, it worked. It sounded fantastic. It was really clean though. It didn't really do any sort of distortion. And then 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, next time I used it, it had a sort of buzz going on. When you turned it on, it was just even with all the volumes at nothing and nothing plugged into it. So I just kind of didn't use it. And then I took it to a well-known amp place in town to get that buzz fixed. And basically I got it back home and then I looked in the back and there was the thing, and it was cleaned pots and jack sockets, 150 quid. And it still made exactly the same noise. They hadn't dealt with the problem at all. So I was a bit cheesed off about that. And then I tried to sell it, and some asshole tire kicker came round and he was like, oh, and he took this. Oh, this is just pointing at bits, you know. It's like someone just trying to get a deal. And he was, I kind of had it on for like, before I realised it didn't work, I was thinking it was worth maybe 600 quid. And then I had it on for like 350 or something like that. And he was trying to offer me like 100 quid. And I was like, they've driven for miles as well. From, I can't remember, was it Ayr or something? It was like a 2 hour drive or something, come to get it. And it was like trying to offer me 100 quid, which is like a quarter of what I was asking, which is an eighth of what I was asking for the previous week. So I've still got it. I don't know what to do with it. If anyone knows how to fix amps, it might be a nice one. Apparently, it's like a 2-channel thing, and it's meant to be like a Fender Twin. It's what it was meant for, a Telecaster apparently. If you look it up, Marshall Artiste 2080. I think that might just be the cabinet. It's 2080 though. Hold on 2 seconds. I am overheating because the heating's just kicked on, and I'm going to go and turn the heating off. That's real live. No faffing about. How much longer do I have to go on that? 7 minutes. And then I might be middied up. No, my problem is I've been spoilt with amps. So I mean, every one I try, I keep thinking, oh, that's really nice, but the Softex is the best amp in the world, and the wee Laney is pretty much like quite similar to the Softex. I don't know what. It's something to do with, I don't know, maybe the types of valves that are in it or something. I don't know. I'm not one for twiddling my knobs. I mean, I took in the Softex and it stopped working. Something, I think, I don't know, something, there was something intermittent in the studio. So I was trying to use a Marshall GCM 900, which I had, which was kind of too distorted for me, but I was kind of dealing with that okay, and then it cut out again. And then I moved on to the GCM 2000, and it had like 2 rows of knobs, and I couldn't get a sound out of it. It was just, it was horrible. Sorry if anyone's got I'm going to turn off this alarm because I'm going to jump out the skin when it comes on. I know it. Well, just as well I wasn't relying on that. I actually set it for 21.55, not 20.55, so it would have gone off by now. Yeah, but I mean, the Big Marshall was basically, nowadays you want one of them, something like that. So maybe there is one that I think might be slightly better. I keep seeing it's got a 12-inch speaker in it. That's only got the 10-inch, but I love that wee amp. It's just, I'm a little bit concerned. It seems to be eating valves a little bit. I mean, I've never changed the valves in the Softex in the 20 years I've had it, and they're not even the original valves because they say Marshall on them. But even though I bought it new, I think it was new, I think the valves have been nicked out it. I think I get that little DS dual Super Lead 1, a 12-inch cab for the house. It's keeping it small, but not too small. You want small watts, but not too small a speaker. Because that's what the Lady does, which the Marshall can't do, or the Softex can't do. When you've got it down at volumes like I'm playing it just now, it's just not really firing on all cylinders. It does it, but it still sounds pretty good. But it's kind of like sitting there going, come on, put me into the high input. You know, I mean I'm sitting running that at, it's a 60 watt. Last time I was in the studio, I'm running at 4 and 4, the gain and the power, and that's like, it's just glorious sounding. The Rolling Jazz chorus was 4 minutes. I'm terrified I'm going to miss that now. That's actual live eBaying. So you can look it up if you want. It's a Yamaha MU15, and you can remind me when it's going out. Yeah, kind of got lost a little bit. The jazz chorus was I used to be in a band with my pals called G-Rock, and there was like 3 of us playing guitar, 1 of us playing bass, and then a drummer, and then some drinkers. So we would go in, and if you were there, anything past, you had to be, if I was a guitarist. So it was the first person who was there got, this was in the Brill Building Studios, which was owned by Wet 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 in Glasgow, and below the Arches on Oswald Street. And the first person in got the JCM 900, or the 800, whatever one was there. The second one in got the other Marshall that wasn't quite as good. And then whoever it was that was got held up, or whatever, come in and it'd be like, oh no, the electric gas, and there's sitting there looming the jazz chorus. And it's like, we're playing rock. I think only once did I ever actually have to use the jazz chorus, and to be honest, I quite liked it. I just played mad solos with the chorus thing on full bung. But I have to say, like, see, like the wee Black Star ID core I've got, it's amazing how good that sounds for being a wee amp. Like, not so much. It's just like it does quite a good approximation of the sound of a decent volume at a really quiet volume, which an amp like that doesn't do. It does not go down to not disturbing the person in the next room volume and still sounding good. Whereas the wee modular things can do that. Yeah. 3 minutes to go. Better not miss this. I'm getting all tense. Yeah, so it's like they're kind of doing the impossible. Same with the wee. I've got the Black Star Fly 3. So I think if you're sitting in a house, it is possible to get up to the best sound you can get up to the sort of volume that can do. But it's kind of, I mean, to be honest, it's sitting. I'm using the gain channel just now. It's sitting at 2 and 3. It's like it's hardly cranked. All right, I think maybe could happen. I'm good. Exciting, tense, bidding. This thing actually looks exactly the same as a drum machine I've got called a Big Jam. So it's obviously from the Strange Reach, so maybe I could have a Big Jam. See, I just wish I'd known about the Moore drummer pedal before I tried to buy a Volca Beats and all these different types of drum machine. I don't really want a drum machine to program. I just want it to just go boom, boom, that's it. And that kind of does it. About 50 different ways of doing that, and you can speed it up, slow it down, and it just gives you it's just more interesting. Yeah, there is. I know there's an eBay sniper, but the thing is, it's like the buzz. It's all about the hunt and stuff like that. And the terror, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Is somebody going to outbid me? But I'm glad this isn't like that black area. Whereas the last 40 minutes we're sitting there bidding it up £1, then waiting 10 minutes and someone else would bid it up £1, the two of them just going, oh. So I've got 20 minutes to think about it. I'll add on an extra £2. Right, so if you need to go to the toilet, go to the toilet. I've got a minute to sit here, and minute 19. I'm still on the screen. I can still talk. But this is the real tense moment. I always think it's kind of like gambling, but because I pure hate gambling, you can't lose. Because either you get the thing that you're bidding on and then have to pay for it. But if you lose, you don't get the thing you're bidding on. 51 seconds. So it's a Yamaha MU. I was trying to remember whether it says, is it going to say confirm bid when I hit bid or not? I can never remember because I normally do it with enough time in case it does come up and say bid. 20 seconds. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. There was a confirm. Nah, gone. Oh well. I was not the second highest. I was the third highest. So I did go for 70 quid. And for 70 quid, it would have been really nice. Nah. But then again, when you're looking at things, if you're trying to sell something on eBay, try to sell it on a Sunday night around about this time is the perfect time. Because they're there. Yeah, so still on the hunt for some sort of sound module. If anyone's got a sound module from ideally possibly from the 2000s on with relatively realistic saxophone on it, I want for some reason. Is that a West Tone Thunder above Beyond Monitor? No, it's a West Tone Pantera. But it's definitely, you've got the right company. I was playing this 10 minutes ago. This is the last of the Matsumoku West Tones. The last of the Matsumoku guitars, 1986. I think they ran sort of into 87. But it's a stunning beast. It's also brand spanking new, and I've not really had much chance playing with it. I did end up playing it with it for about 40 minutes in a video I did yesterday. But that's kind of all I've really touched on it. Well, this one is not making it into the guitars I'm going to take to the gig, because the guitarist in the Led Zeppelin band is the guy I did the swap with, so that would be rubbing it in, turning up with his old guitar. So I'm not going to bother doing that. Also, I want to do things that are a bit more interesting. There's not going to be very many people there, but there's 4 other bands, so there'll be some great guitar geekdom coming in. So I'm thinking about taking the most exotic and ridiculous looking guitars. Hey Hugh. No problem. If that's you just arrived and you're kind of an hour late, I've kind of, well, I'm still a wee bit reeling about that MIDI thing, but I'll find something. It obviously wasn't the right one for me. I think that's got like a keyboard in front of it. The one I had before, I got one called a Yamaha Big Jam, but the first synth I ever had that was any good was another Yamaha thing, and it kind of looked a bit like a Game Gear. And it was some sort of recorder, but you couldn't record, you could only record MIDI information from the keyboard. So you could, like, it was like an 8-track in it, but it was an 8-track MIDI. And I used it because it had a decent piano sound on it. I only paid like 50 quid for it. And I had like this horrible Casio big metal thing with weighted keys. The sounds on it were pathetic, but it had a MIDI out. So the MIDI out ran into this, and I could run it into the speakers. And suddenly it's like I had the weighted keys on a big fancy metal keyboard, but it actually sounded like a 2000s or a late 90s piano rather than being a 1980s piano, which is what I struggle a little bit with a lot of the synths I kept. All the really cool looking ones kind of don't sound like what they say, like piano, kind of like piano, saxophone sort of, but they all just sound like mad synth. Hey Jess, I suppose I did save 70 quid. I'm saying I didn't lose because I didn't spend any money, but I suppose I could look at it that I won because I actually remembered about it. But I would have lost if you'd forgotten about it. It's like that's the danger about not using a sniper software. Like that double bass bag. Warwick Rock bag. 99p, £7 postage, takes 2 basses. I was going at 11 o'clock Tuesday morning or something like that, and I was totally watching, thinking I'm not going to, no bids, I'm going to wait, I'll probably get that for like, 15 quid or something like that. Went in and it's like, I forgot about it, like when I woke up a little bit too late, and it had gone for 99p. So there may be some situations when you should bid. Somebody's just put a bid in for that. The first person that bids just go, I'll pay £100 for that, bang. Because there is a bit of auction fever goes on, and you just decide, rather than the hassle of trying to, or maybe someone's been looking for it forever, just please whatever it's worth. you thought of a guitar you would pick up, what would it be? Oh, see, my favourite guitar question again, it comes down to what's your favourite guitar just now? Is it the one I'm most likely to play Zach because I've not really played it very much, or the Black Aria because I've not really played it enough either? And then it's like, I don't know. I like all guitars. It's really annoying. Is this another guitar I would go for? What am I looking for just now? There's actually a Grant bass on eBay just now that just showed up. My pal Wayne sent me earlier on. Quite fancy that. The only problem is it's fretless. I don't like fretless, but I've kind of got the Grant. It came in 3 colours, this crazy model, and it's like silver, candy apple red, and sort of candy apple blue. The bass is blue. I've got a silver 1 pickup version, and I've got a candy apple red 2 pickup version. Sniff, you've got your Super Strat fetish. So there's a question: is that a Super Strat? Like, when does it become a Super Strat? Because I don't think I like Super Strats, but it kind of depends on where the definition comes in. Because I do understand that it could be anything that's roughly Strat shaped but has like a humbucker and a Floyd Rose, kind of like a Strat, pointy headstock. Floyd Rose, is it a Strat? I don't know. Actually, one of the guitars I'm going to look at, which is a prime candidate for playing the gig, is my Ibanez Roadster, which is just a beautiful thing. It's one of those ones that's just something special, and all the ones I've kept are something special, but this has a certain something to it that's can't put my finger on. It's like a lot of these guitars are just very special. There's something you can talk about describing it and go, oh, it does this, it does that. It's like, can you play it? You kind of go, you know what I mean? Oh, good pedal, full stop, regardless of the fact it's so cheap. I'm really loving my Delamo fuzz, which it says in the advert it's a fuzz face. I don't think it is though. It sounds really good. I'm really enjoying it. I don't think it'll be for everyone. It totally suits me though. Also, I would say the Joyo rat pedal, or not the Joyo, Mosky rat. These things have gone up a wee bit in price, but I think it's still like 20 quid. Kind of again, I've kind of got like variations of the ones that I like. See, I'm saying you can probably get a pedal that does all of these things just by adjusting the knobs. Right, hold on, we've got loyalty to one guitar. I've got loyalty to lots of guitars. There's ones that I can't let go. I was saying that Ibanez is one of them, because I would never find another one. I've never seen another one the same, so I love it. So you reckon it is a Super Strat? Well, it could be, yes. I just have to decide. But I'm not that keen on your sort of Jackson-y Charvel-y. Maybe Charvels just kind of look like Strats, don't they? But the sort of maybe 1990 Super Strat I'm not so keen on. That's still 86, so they've not quite decided exactly what a Super Strat is. Because if that's a Super Strat, is the other one a Super Strat? Is that a Super Strat? It's Strat scale. It's got the Floyd Rose, it's got the thingies. It's very similar. It's very clearly an earlier relative of that. But as you can see, it's West Tone Thunder shaped. Possibly the first guitar ever to have HSH wiring, like the first factory guitar. SF Yamaha Superflighter. Kind of not just entirely dissimilar to this, apart from it's a little bit more. I don't think it's as heavy. It's a bit more SG-y, and I don't think it's symmetrical. Would that be right? Well, that must mean it's good. I kind of, to be honest, I'm going to try it in the guitar band I'm in Kraken House. I'm going to try and work in a pedal of some sorts to get 2 sounds, because I've just been running either the Softtech or the wee Laney through the 4x12 in the studio with no pedals and just using the volume control and the guitar to change the sound. It's sounding really good, but I'd really like a wee boost. I did take in the Behringer Super Fuzz, but it's not the thing for me. I know it's a copy. It's meant to be a really good clone of some Boss pedal, but it's not. It doesn't sound like those cheapy ones I've got, which sound kind of broken and like at any moment it's going to bite you. Whereas it's kind of digitally somehow. I can't really name what it is. Steve Hillage sounds. I don't know Steve Hillage. I like the drummer like Steve Hillage. It was one of the first records I ever got. Was an 80s Steve Hillage record. I know it was 80s because it's the most 80s cover ever. It might as well just have said Miami Vice instead of saying Steve Hillage. I think it was a live album. And it had like pastels on it, and it was City at Night with the logo. Can't remember what it sounds like though. Electra Phoenix bass on eBay. Electra Phoenix bass, is that very like Westtone? I was reading up a little bit about them when I was looking up the Pantera the other day, and Electra and Westtone. Electra were actually owned by St. Louis Music in America somewhere. Washington? I can't remember. Somewhere in America. So they were kind of contracting Matsumoto to build these guitars, and the reason there's an Electra Westtone crossover is because that St. Louis Music were buying the models for the designs off Westtone, so that's why they look the same. I thought they were both the same company. They weren't. They were both the same factory, but the Westtones were the Matsumoto factory's home brand. They had like an R&D development thing, so they invented these things. I don't think Aria were. Aria, although they were always Matsumoto, were a separate company, whereas Westtone were designed in-house, and a lot of the Westtone Electra's crossover thing is the fact that it kind of was a sort of joint venture, sort of. Some of them. I mean, I had one. I just swapped it with my pal. A Dynasty, which actually was a Westtone Electra. No, it was just an Electra on the headstock, but it said Westtone on the neck plate. There is definitely one, a Zimitis. It could be an investment, but it's not going to be a cheap investment. Zimitis is not like thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Maybe I would be more into that if I had any money. I'm more like, what's a good investment? And I'm trying to pick up guitars at 50 quid that are going to be worth £200 in 10 years' time. You know, it's like, yeah, or even more than that. Call that a super strat as well. Yeah. It is. I've grown to like it. I was always. It's not as pretty as a Washburn Wing. The shape, it just isn't. Even I'm not talking about this one. This would be like the equivalent of the Washburn Raven. Even the most expensive one, the one that's all fancy and stuff like that. The shape, there's something just a little bit not beautiful about this bit. Whereas on the Washburn Wing, it totally is. And saying that, on this, you get really good high fret access. And the Washburn Wings, although they're a sort of semi-copy of this, and it's neck through, and it's got a big massive scoop that comes in here, you can't get to the top of the fingerboard. Definitely not as easy as you can on this guitar. So are you sacrificing looks for playability? Maybe. Yeah. Vantage went to the same house as Westtone. They were for a while. There are Vantages that kind of look not entirely 100% millions of miles away from this, a sort of double cutty, sort of Les Pauli thing, possibly even through neck. They were they weren't owned by Matsumoto, but Matsumoto did build the first ones in the early 80s, maybe up to about 83 or something like that. They were Matsumoto, and then they moved to Chushin, and then they moved to Korea. And then I'm not sure, I think they kept going for a little bit longer than that. But there are definitely Matsumoto, they were just another one of your Matsumoto contracts. Basically, it was kind of to compete with the... I don't think... Was the Washburn the first one that had the through neck where you could see the stringers on the front? I think it might have been. It itself's kind of a copy of the Yamaha SG and the Ibanez Artist, though. I should probably try and get my hands on an Ibanez Artist at some point, just so I've got like the 3 double cut Les Paul numbers. No, but they're the same. So Vantage were at one point, but they definitely moved, and I'm pretty sure that the black one I've got is Tushin because it's BBR, so it's got like black body, red binding, red writing on the pickups. They're black, red binding in the neck. It's got that, which was a Tushin thing because Washburn did Tushin and all these things. I think Matsumoku by that point were maybe more concentrating on doing the West Tone because there's a lot of West Tones kicking about, and they were really popular. Partly because they were quite cheap, but I remember someone commented on one of the YouTube videos I did, and they worked in a guitar shop in 1980, and they remember the absolute shock of the West Tone Paduac, it was called, which was their cheapest guitar. It was kind of the same shape as that yellow bass I'm fighting with just now. Single pickup, Paduac top, and it was like 150 quid, something like that. And it was just, at that time, 150 quid got you the cheapest and nastiest plywood Les Paul copy. Or maybe 100 quid got you the cheapest, like a Grant Les Paul, basically, let's be honest. Or a Columbus or whatever. And these West Tones came out, and they were this as good as the Fender Strats and the thing, and they totally destroyed for a few years, destroyed everything. The Thunder just took over as well, because the Thunder was a bit more expensive. It was kind of like, it'd be like 200 quid as opposed to 150, and it was like a pure Les Paul killer. And stunning guitars, especially the very early ones. I had one, my pal took it, sent it back because there was a slight neck crack in it. A 1981 Thunder 2, so it was a set neck, and it was beautiful. Absolutely, it was rivaling any guitar. Basically, it's one of those guitars that you could basically take that in and just give it to anybody, and they would just go, "What do you think of this?" And it's just like, this is just about as good as a guitar can be. Just absolutely gorgeous. Fantastic guitars. Maybe just a bit more personal thing, I mean, something like that. I mean, that's a very high quality guitar, but it doesn't have the expensiveness look to it. It feels expensive and it sounds expensive. As soon as you pick it up, you know that's not a, that you pick it up, you go, oh, that's not a normal Super Strat. Nothing like it. You just go, oh, hold on, different league. Memphis were a copy, I believe, a copy or another one that made Washburn Wings. I think Maple Centre Block Body in the early 70s. Not sure in the early 70s. Maybe the early 80s. I don't think you've really got through neck. But mind you, maybe the body was made with that. I don't know. When did BC Rich arrive? Because BC Rich, I think, were the first proper through necks. Even though, yes, I do know. You could mention in the comments. I watched the thing the other night about the Firebird. The original Gibson Firebird was a through neck, so it didn't exist. Oh, Jess, it was you. Wow, brilliant. So I'm not going mad, or not any more mad than usual. Yeah. So, but if anyone's got a West Tone Paduac, somebody, I think you've got one, don't you? Did you not say you had two? I want a West Tone Paduac. I wish I didn't pay. I wish I'd bought one earlier. They're very, very cool looking guitars. I've got a wee bit of the fear of trying to do a gig with the bridge pickup, the one pickup guitar. I don't know why I should. I do use it all the time in the studio, but it's just something about, if it sounded really thin, having the neck pickup just in case is a huge safety net. A guitar called a rapier. That would be a Watkins rapier. I had a Watkins rapier. I didn't have enough money to do it up. I bought a couple of guitars. I think I bought 3 guitars for 50 quid off a woman in the south side who I think owned a junk shop and was shutting up or something like that. And there was a white Axel Les Paul, which was really good. It was kind of odd looking. Didn't have a double. The cutaway was a funny shape or something, but it was basically just a white Les Paul custom, and it was a really good guitar. I was totally blown away with it. That was worth the 50 quid I paid. And I got I actually remember it was a Falcon Strat, which was just it was a 70s, maybe early 80s Strat, which you now see people selling these things for a few £100, and they're not very good. Like Columbus did them as well. Kind of, yes, it is Japanese. Yes, it is from the late 70s, early 80s. Yes, it was the cheapest guitar they could produce at the time. Kind of not like this. Kind of looked like this, but this is solid. So there was a version of this that came out that must have been half the price around about the same time. Yeah, and he says, do you want this one as well? And I was like looking at it, it's the best of the lot. And it was, the serial number was something like 50. It was like 0052. Set neck. The whole thing had been sanded down to nothing. It did have the tremolo arm and the bridge, and that was it. Did it have the tuners? I don't think it did. And it was one of those things that kind of, I didn't think it was going to be good at the end of it. I didn't really have any use for it, so I think I ended up selling it for, I think I got £150 on eBay, and it went to like a restorer of the Watkins Rapier. Watkins Rapier's got switches that actually came from a Pifco hairdryer that turn on the pickups. So if you can't find the pickup switches are actually from a hairdryer. I'm very close to buying a Burns bass. I really like the Bison bass. I think it's a really cool look. I remember when Oasis, I hate them with a passion, but my pal was right into it, and Oasis had a sort of rebirthy thing at one point where they'd get rid of some of the bands and got a couple of session guys in, and the session guy came out and they were doing like some BBC thing or something, and the guy had a Burns bass. It's the first time I'd seen one, the Bison, which has just basically got massive horns like this, and I thought that was really cool. But I've never seen one that I wanted to buy. Made a P-bass copy, early 70s walnut wings, centre block made of maple. Did it with through neck though? I don't know. A lot of this stuff is, it's kind of, if you look up stuff on the internet on Japanese guitars, it's sort of random whether it's right or not, because a lot of things come from someone who reckons something, and it's like, it's not necessarily right. When someone gives you proof and goes up here, yeah, that guitar's from the 70s, look, and they show you an eBay listing saying 70s Yamaha guitar, that doesn't make it, or if you see half a dozen listings that say 70s Japanese guitar, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be Japanese, or that it's 70s in this case, but it's possible. Samick Flying V has it sold back on for £100. Flying V's are really good, and I've got a Samick Greg Bennett mini Flying V, which is great. I hate you, Gerald, really. Well, I hate you less now, because I've recently done a deal with my pal Wayne to get an A20. I've been looking for a Washburn A20 since I got my 8-string bass about 10 years ago. That would be my first ever Japanese, in my Japanese collection. A20, I've got two A10s, an A5 and a B20 8-string bass, and I've just done a deal with my pal Wayne swapping an expensive Yamaha for a black A20V, black with gold binding. These are great questions, and I don't know how in tune I am. Jeff's just sent me a thing just 2 seconds ago, so I don't know if there's a delay, but I'm still 2 questions up. Remember the Westone bass with the slidey pickup, you can move about, core. These brands are the best second-hand option if you started 30 years ago. The best thing now, the Westone rail is the bass you're talking about. I saw a really beat up one of them about a month ago, starting at 99p, and I thought, it was really minging. It was really like all the chrome had come off the bridge and everything. It kind of looked sort of intact, but it looked really, I've been left outside, it looked really scabby. And I was thinking, I can pick that up for like £100, and it pure went for 300 and something. So they're really expensive, and people think they're cool. I think bass players are a bit nuts. They kind of embrace pure mad technology. But it was called the Rail, yes. And it's one of those things that, yes, I would love one, but no, I'm not paying proper guitar money for it. I need a silly one. I need to get one that looks hackett. Same with my Steinberger bass. I always thought they were the most ugly guitar ever. And yes, of course, I always wanted one. I started looking them up, and they go for 300 quid. And it's like, I'm not £300 isn't worth it for a joke. You know, if you can get it for 50, it's worth having. Ah, this is great fun if you're enjoying it. Yeah, no, I think I was talking to somebody. I don't know. I don't have any cursor. I've got it back. Talked to a guy the other night. The guy dropped off his son's guitar. I think he was kind of vetting me a little bit. I think he's got expensive guitars himself. So he's giving me his son's one. He's got a kit, and it's I'm kind of on the edge of not being able to do anything with it. I know he didn't pay very much for it, but it's like, if I'm going to have to do like pure refrets and all that, it's like I had to fight my way with that. And I've now forgotten. Andrew, like, the like and sub painting. But yeah, the great idea. Sometimes it works. Depends which bass I've got here or which guitar. This is normally where I've got basses hanging up because there's not quite enough room. But you can get a bass there, but you can't get a bass above that or above that or above that. Well, you can get a bass there, but you can't see them. Revelation really blown away the standard. I've had a revelation, and it was sort of like it's pick up similar to my Yamaha RGX, where it's kind of like a P90 shaped humbucker, and it had like a varitone and other things. You know, it came with 20 sounds, and I did a video. I was like, this does absolutely everything. It's like, I mean, the only thing it doesn't do is a coil split. And then I gave the thing back, and then one of the comments was like, "Hey mate, the tone control is a push pull." You know, so it did have a coil split. It totally did everything. It was fantastic. Yeah, I need to try the Fuzz Factory without blowing up my amp. I don't want to blow it up on live. Well, if I'm going to blow it up, I suppose I probably should blow it up live. Yeah, good to see. I know I've not got around to your guitar yet. I've been messing about. Actually, I slept really awkwardly yesterday. Woke up in the morning with a pure killer back, and I don't know what happened. And I was pure lying from like 5 in the morning to 10 in the morning, absolutely screaming. Kept going for hot showers to try and sort it out. And eventually the ibuprofen kicked in and I went to sleep. So basically yesterday was just a total wipeout. Universal credit size budgets of guitars. You can pick up amazing guitars. It's just if you're running a car, you can pick up amazing guitars. It's just a case of, well, you've got time. If you've got time and you sit there on Gumtree and just look every half hour, and on Facebook Marketplace if you can, and just get in first. Because I mean, there's guitars. I'm sure every week, like if you're in you're in Glasgow, every week in Glasgow there's one or two pure stupid guitars you can get for 20, 30 quid. I got an Ibanez, a 1981 Ibanez Blazer. That's like 25 quid. Pure ridiculous. Just a case of finding them. Yeah, I think I'm nearly there. Just try to miss it. I'll get the Fuzz Factory out at some point. I think it's too late just now. A bit steaming, kind of almost halfway through my bucky. That's not good. I'll just try and find Gerald said looking for the real bass. It's fantastic, but I've kind of got the wee Steinberger, so I don't know. An HM20. You don't get HM20s, and I've never seen one for sale. I've seen them for sale in America. I've run a page on Facebook. If you look it up, Washburn Guitars, the Golden Era, and that kind of fits in. But I think Washburn kind of must have had distributor problems around about that time, because we get the early Yamaki, the really good ones. We get the Wing series. You see them occasionally here, and a little bit of the Force series, and you occasionally see a couple of BBRs, but the rest of the late sort of post 83, 84, 85, 86, that sort of time, we don't seem to get an awful lot of those models. I don't know what the reason for it is. There might be information somewhere. I don't know whether maybe the distributor went bankrupt or closed down, or they lost the contract, or whatever happened, and they concentrate in America. But I've never seen one in Britain. McCormick's shop in the salt market had a window full of Bison bass kits. I've heard of it. I didn't know it was McCormick's. I heard that there was a guy. The salt market. Yeah, the salt market was just down from the high street Cross, whatever you call it. What is that called? Whatever that's called. Yes, he'd apparently bought all the stuff from the Burns factory that had closed down, like, I don't know, what, 1970 or something like that. So he did a sort of thing where you could sort of custom spec your guitar, because he went into the factory with like, 10 grand and just bought everything that wasn't finished. So you could kind of go in and choose your neck, choose your body, choose the parts and build it. I have heard about this. Yeah, but I'm already on the bucky. I can't turn the volume down halfway. I kind of want to see what we can do. The Fuzz Factory. I'm scared of it, I'll be honest, Andrew. I'm scared of the Fuzz Factory. I got lost coming to you without the sat nav, and it's like, Fuzz Factory's got more than 3 knobs, isn't it? And I can handle the 3-knob one where you get volume and gain and tone laughing. But it's got ones that have all got funny names on it. It's not obvious. How'd you base your decision? Electric's okay, the bodies are chipped, it's worth it. It depends what it is. How much would you spend? I assume that's meant to be, how much would I spend? It's got, well, I buy two types of guitars. I buy ones that I can do up and sell, or ones that I can turn into bucky casters, ones that I can fix basically, or ones that I can swap. That's one side. And then I buy ones that I want. I can kind of disconnect myself from buying the ones to do up. It's a kind of, I don't know, an emotional thing, whereas the ones that I bought for myself, they don't always work out. And occasionally I do buy ones for the doing uppy thing that are just like, if it is unputtable downable, or I didn't know what it was when I bought it. Sometimes they go in the stay pile, and sometimes the ones in the stay pile just don't quite do it for me. But the most I would ever pay for a guitar, I can't put a maximum on it. I haven't. The last most expensive guitar I bought was that one there for 350 quid 20 years ago. That's the second most expensive guitar I've ever bought. And the one that's most expensive is a Schecter P-Bass, which I bought the year before that for 430. I've kind of, I don't know, so it's like, now I'm saying, that's where I had a bit of a problem with the Trade Tuesday thing, because I was going to try and trade up to like a Les Paul, and it's like, once it starts getting to a point where it's like a guitar like this is as good as a guitar can be. It's like, it doesn't say Gibson Les Paul on it. Peter Green didn't play one, but this is a better guitar than a Les Paul. Sorry. Like, to play and sound, it just doesn't have the name on it. So I kind of feel a bit difficult selling something like this for 200 or 300 quid to try and trade up to get something that I know isn't as good, because I've played tons of them. They're just not as good. This stuff is all going to go up crazy in the future, though. A clarinet. I've bought stupid instruments. I haven't done for about 10 years, but I've bought banjos and mandolins and all these things, and no, I can't. There's no chance I'm going to be able to make a note out of clarinet. Sorry. Buckfast is £6.50 a bottle in the co-op there. I paid down at, not last year, the year before lockdowns. I went down to see Baby Metal in London. I'd been up all night and I couldn't get sleep in the bus. I was thinking, I'll get the mega bus. It's only a tenner or something. Get the mega bus at 10 o'clock at night, sleep in the bus the way down, get into London 6 in the morning. Thing was packed, stinking, couldn't sleep a wink. So by the time Baby Metal came about, I'd been up since 10 o'clock at night. And it was now, 8 o'clock at night. The following night, I hadn't slept anything. And we went, and there was a big, massive queue around the building. Me and Wayne's like, let's go for a pint. Okay. And then just before we got to the pub, the wee carry-out shop, and it's so bucky. It was £10.50 or £10.99 a bottle, though. But it totally brought me up. It was amazing. Well, lots of things to do. That's like, yeah, well, maybe, yeah. When did I become a Neil Young fan? A strange time. I always hated and still to a certain extent hate Harvest and the Greatest Hits a little bit, because everyone else seemed to like it. And then I saw the BBC in concert thing where he's playing Harvest, and it's fantastic. And then I went to see Neil Young, and it was for the album Broken Arrow, which I think, 90s, I think, and it was awful. But then I think I might have just drank too much before I went in. It was really hot, didn't mean to drink, so maybe something ill feeling. And then I went to see them again in London at Hammersmith Odeon, the one where I met Paul Whitehouse outside. When I say met him, I said, "All right, Paul," and he went, "All right, mate." Counts. And it was awful. There was something wrong with the toilets, so you could pure smell toilet smell, and it was pure roasted or pure dying. It was awful. And then the third one was we played at Aberdeen Exhibition Centre. I got a free ticket because I drove. My pal had bought some tickets, and I drove his car all the way up and stayed sober for it, and it was amazing. And then since then I've seen him a couple of times. I've seen him at the SCCC and at the Hydro, and it was amazing. So that's when I became a proper Neil Young fan. Also, when I heard Trans and Reactor and Hawks and Doves, this is all because my pal Peg giving me all these things. So basically, it turned out that all the Neil Young stuff, you get folk that like the Crazy Horse stuff, that's me, and you get the stuff that doesn't like the Crazy Horse stuff. But the thing is, every 2 years, you get one of each. He does an album every year, so you get kind of a Mad album, a Crazy Horse album, a country album, a Mad album, there's always plenty. Poor Bucky. You want me to pour Bucky into your fuzz factory? Really? Les Paul Custom 1992, £2,000. I'm sorry, I can't. I have never played a guitar I thought was worth £2,000. It's different if it belonged to Hendrix or Tony Iommi or something. I'd play that for that. Not that I've got that, but you know what I mean. If it's what you want, I mean, it's so much of it's in your. I don't mean in your head. I mean in my head as well. There is a placebo effect of what you expect a guitar to be. This was a funny one for me because I'd always known that a Yamaha SG was the guitar at one point. I mean, not so much this one. This is a cheaper model, but I mean the one with the maple top on it, the 2000. But it just equals everything I possibly believed it could have been. But each for their own. I mean, I just slag it. Just because maybe I'm just jealous. I don't have the money for it. I could have 3 or 4 Les Pauls, or 3 or 4, £2,000 guitars instead of what I've got. But it's the thing about trying to be unique. I'm not like everybody else. We're all individuals. I don't know like Les Pauls, but I did obviously bought the SG. Yeah, my SG, and I did end up with a Strat, and I was enjoying playing the telly. I don't know, each to their own. I'm just pure cheap. I want to get the best quality guitar, the best playing guitar for the cheapest amount of money, and kind of this is where these all fit into that category. And they're cool as well, but I end up liking them. Oh God, I'm miles behind. Oh, hold on, I'm trying to catch up now. Gibson's a bit overrated, but they're worth that when you sell them. It's like, oh, that guitar's not worth £2,000, but you put it on eBay and you get £2,000 for it. Well, it is worth £2,000. I can't argue that. It's like, can you get a better guitar for a few hundred? Yes, but it's not worth a couple of grand. It's only worth a few hundred. Totally, that is technically, yeah. Glasgow Cross pick and mix. Yes, that sounds about right. Glasgow Cross was what I was thinking about. I couldn't remember. I called it High Street. No guitar matches a pre-93 Les Paul Custom. I need to give you a shout. You need to try a Washburn Falcon, and then you'll say no guitar matches a Washburn Falcon. And then I suppose maybe if you played like an original 1958 Les Paul, maybe it would be better than the Falcon. I don't know. I've certainly not played one as good. The Megabus is horrible. You think, how can it be bad? It's only a tenner. It's only 8 hours, so you just curl into the fetal position and scream for 8 hours, and you're saving hundreds of pounds. That was horrible. I have to say that the bus on the way back was great though. The trick with the megabus is don't get the one that goes straight there. There's one that takes like 6 hours or something, 8 hours, and then there's one that takes like 2 hours longer, which goes to Carlisle and York or something like that. And then that's the one I got on the way back, and it was like I had 2 seats to myself and a charger port, and there's like every seat in the place, and everyone had 2 seats, and it was so much better than just being pure wedged in next to some people and just like kids screaming and just like yeah. You still got King Tut's Wawa Hut? I don't know. I've not been in it for years, and I assume it's quite big, so I assume it's survived lockdown. I don't know. How about an Xbox for a guitar? I've got an Xbox. An Xbox 360. So, but I used to play. I went through a stage of playing. I started off playing a game called Far Cry, and then I started playing Call of Duty, and then the Call of Duty thing started getting annoying because every year I had to buy a new game. Then every couple of months they'd bring out a map pack, and eventually I just thought, sod it. No doing it anymore. Overrated versus overpriced. Well, there you go. But I mean, I've got my opinions. And the thing is, I slag off Strats and Gibsons all the time. I've got a Strat and a Gibson now, so I can a little bit more. But it's personal opinion. If some of these guitars, I'm sure that you would pick up, and people in here would just absolutely. There is no way in the world you would ever play that guitar, which I totally understand. There was a time there's no way I would ever play that guitar, regardless of how good it is. So you've got this coming in. A concrete bodied guitar. I actually almost built my dad's house has a. Is it my dad's house or is it one we worked on? Has a fake marble kitchen worktop, and it's got the cutout for the sink, but it's like a sink. It's like one of those double sink things. So it's kind of almost guitar-y shaped. It's about that size, and it kind of gets thinner where the wee drainy bit is. And I kept that. I threw it out when I moved house, but I was going to try and make a guitar out of that, thinking I could surface mount stuff and basically just bolt the neck. It was only that thick, so I figured I could bolt a neck onto the surface of it and then surface mount the pickup, surface mount the bridge, and it would be stone. But I mean, the thing weighed. It was like a paving slab. I just never got around to it. Bang for your buck, best bang for your buck. Less so now than what it used to be is a West Tone Spectrum or a West Tone Thunder. The Thunders are starting going up. The Spectrums you can still get cheap. Even if you get the cheapest Spectrum, which doesn't have the best hardware on it, you can buy decent hardware now pretty cheap. But anything above the very cheapest West Tone has GoTo hardware. And it's like, you never ever see West Tones with upgraded pickups, with upgraded tuners, because it's got GoTos on it. You very rarely see them with upgraded bridges because it's got GoTo bridges on it. So the chances of getting them are quite good. Oh God, rock and roll. This is an SG 200, not 2,000. They're worth about £2,000. I've got scabies coming back from London. That's awful. Thankfully, I didn't get scabies. They'll totally. I mean, the megabus really is horrible. The megabus been too long. I think you just go to the closest place to enjoy them. Basically, what my advice is, see where the closest place the megabus goes to. Is like Hamilton or something like that, where you get people join, and just get absolutely hammered, tan a bottle of Bucky, and get off at the first stop, and then get the next one back, and then that'll be an enjoyable megabus. Don't even bother whether they actually go to London stuff. The only true value of guitar is the joy you get out of it. Yes, sort of, yes. But I'm really, really, really stingy. So if I did have £1,000 guitar or a £2,000 guitar, even if I got given it, I don't think I could keep it because it wouldn't be the joy, it wouldn't be in it. Yeah. But I mean, I do understand. It's like, yes. So it depends what it is you like. And obviously I've got, the thing is, everyone's got their own opinions, and nobody, does anyone not like guitars? Like, you go up here, I can't stand the Yamaha Pacifica. I'm sure if you're at around someone's house, you want a shot of a Yamaha Pacifica, aye. It's like, I maybe wouldn't buy one, you still want a shot at it. It's not a guitar, therefore it's really cool, better than a guitar, so it doesn't really matter which one you've got. As long as you don't get one like that one I had to smash up, where it doesn't matter what kind of style of guitar you like. When you get one as cheap as that Westwood one, that is crap. It's a Strat copy, but it is crap. Nobody could think that was good unless you'd never seen a guitar before. But once you start getting up to a couple £100, you can get a guitar anywhere. The idea of scabies pure makes me want to hurl. I remember one of the kids up at the chalet, one of the pals I used to play with, had got scabies from a scout camp or something, and he was like, he said at one point you could look in below his arm and you could see them moving. I don't know how true that was, but this whole idea of having bugs living in below your skin is just like, cut the arm off, just take it. Ah. Another peeling guitar is better than no guitar. Yes, basically, yeah. So basically, I've been watching Lost. If it's Lost and you've got a guitar that's only got one string and it's made of shite, it's still better than no guitar. Like, obviously, you'd have to bake the shit. We used to have an ashtray that my uncle got in Africa that was made of dung. So it's possible you could have a guitar made of dung. So you've got, Craig, you're right. I mean, it's like, but again, it turns out what it is you want to do with it. It's like, if you need a guitar that you can, it depends what it is your categories are. If you don't like the look of it, it doesn't matter whether it's a great guitar or not. I mean, there's an element of I'm scared about that if I ever get the world's best Les Paul. I might just not like it because it's a Les Paul. I don't like Les Pauls. Whatever it works. But again, with the Fiat Panda thing, yes. And I do have a Fiat Panda. It was just as good. This reminds me of me and my pal Michael and his cousin who was over from America, New York State, were out in my boat drinking the bucky, camping. Actually, we went to a place called Otter Ferry, which is on Loch Fyne, which is absolutely the most beautiful place in the world when the sun's out, which is once a week or a couple of times a month. We were there, and there was a guy came in. The world's biggest yacht. It was huge. Well, okay, it wasn't quite that Russian football guy's yacht. Was it? No, 50-foot powerboat, twin engines. $100,000 worth. And he was ferrying in his kids, and he had they were all wearing matching like polo shirts, and they had the lanyards from the marina, which they'd come from. And he came in on the plane on a wee jet ski thing that had come off a crane on the back of his boat. And he got up and you could see him pure, yeah, and then he walked past us and we were sitting there in my boat, which is pure stinking. We're all stinking, smoking and the bottles of bucky and cans of lager sitting in there just like that. Pure, all right, mate, pure stinking of petrol. And you could just see him go, oh, it's so much better than what I've got. You know what I mean? Because he's there with his horrible wife and horrible kids, and we were just out, just getting drunk. Yeah. So in some ways, a guitar, yeah, depends what you're doing. If you don't ever play it, what's the point in having it? But I mean, I can't fault Pacificas or even the one below it, the ERG 121, for being excellent guitars. They just lack personality. They're it's kind of trying to be pure middle of the road to appeal to the most people. Therefore, they're not going to produce something that's pure mad looking. So it's not for me. But I mean, technically, you can't beat them. I think just if you could get it in a pure amazing colour, it's the same thing as an Ibanez RG. I feel as well. It's an amazing tool. It's a brilliant guitar. It does everything you could ever ask for it, but it just doesn't. It's not sexy. It's just kind of yeah. What for brushy? Don't know what that is. Value guitar. My red one that you thought was an Ibanez Sabre. All right, I know that one now. That was the thing is that the cheap Ibanez, the same with the cheap Yamaha. Yamaha and Ibanez are kind of the same. They're never pure cheap shit. Even the Geos and stuff like that, it's like they're not unplayable ever. They're always good for the price range. Maybe not good for. Who's the most famous person I've met? Well, it depends. I've talked to John Paul Jones at a Led Zeppelin. That count? About the third song or the fourth song, he came out with his fourth 8-string bass made by Hugh Manson, who was at the gig. I met Hugh Manson, he's quite famous. And he came out and he said, yeah, I've got another multi-string bass guitar. And I said, does this one light up as well? And he went, yes, it does. I've talked to John Paul Jones about Led Zeppelin. That count. I met Hugh Manson after it. He's the guy who makes Andrew's on just now, Matt Bellamy's guitar. So I've got a John Paul Jones ticket signed by him. But I actually proper met him. I didn't actually talk as such to him. I know Caravan, the band, sort of. Enough that they all laugh when they see me at gigs, because I don't think you get very many people that were sort of my age, especially 20 years ago with long hair at Caravan gigs. Oh, that'll be the alarm that I set an hour later than it should have been. Yeah. Yeah, no, Ibanez Geos are awesome. I had a 7-string Geo. It was actually surprisingly good. Nice stuff. You've got the RGs with a sparkle blue and a black and green swirl. That's just trying to give it some character. But I mean, I can't argue with the fact that if you're wanting a tool, they're totally unbeatable. It's just, if you compare it to, I wish I had my Roadster down. You would see the Roadster, which is the one that came before. It's an RG as well. It's an RG 530, and then that was 1986 and 1987. The RG 550 came out, which was Steve Vai shaped. The Roadster I've got it does have character and stuff. Maybe technically not as good a guitar, but it's kind of in the same league. But I mean, the RGs, especially, you were talking earlier on about that switch, that 5-way switch with the humbuckers. Amazing. But I didn't have an option for this. This already had a hole drilled for this switch, which was I'm not sure what it was, but now it's a dual coil split or a dual coil choice. The reason I did that was just so that when it's in the middle, it's humbuckers. That's easy to know. Down is either outside coils or inside coils, and up is whatever the other one isn't. Oh, sorry, Civet, I forgot to message you. I was doing a piss before I came out. I forgot. Yeah, I had an event earlier on. I was pure traumatized. Talked on the phone to on the video chat to Civet, and suddenly honestly, it was the most terrifying alarm I've ever heard. It was kind of like, like really, but it was like two of them going sick, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" And Civet just kind of went white. Picked up this bottle and was sitting holding this bottle, and I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" And it was an earthquake. And the reason she picked up the bottle is because it was a glass bottle of olive oil that was sitting on top of her shelf that would have fallen off if it was an earthquake. But I mean, what the hell do you do with earthquakes? We don't get earthquakes. So I don't know what to do. And she's like, "Pierre, should I go outside?" And it's like, I don't know. Do you want to go outside in an earthquake? I don't know. It's not the same as getting bombed. Do you go? I was like, "Pierre, just standing below a door frame, or is that like the Blitz?" I don't know. I'm quite pleased we don't have that. Yeah. Sorry I didn't wake you up. I forgot. Catch you later, Jez. I'm about to give up any second anyway. That's been nearly 2 hours. I don't like the look of a Pacifica better than a Strat, but it's kind of a bit more Stratty. And the other green pink, yeah. Rockin' used to be in a band that played the whole album apart from Love to Love You. Used to play it in one gig as well. The 1980s Aria's any good. They're the best guitars you can buy, pretty much, if you buy the right one. That's one. It's an 85. That's one. I've got a few. Even the cheaper models, the more basic models, are pure top quality. It's kind of like looking at like a 50s Les Paul Jr., which is, you see people playing them properly, and it's like, it's simple. They haven't painted it. They've only put one pickup in it. It doesn't have any fancy bits on it, but it's built to the same quality. The cheaper Arias, the lower end Arias are like that. So maybe the tuners won't be very good. Maybe the some of the hardware, but the actual build of the guitar is the same as the best guitar you could buy just now. We've got custom shot on it. Cheers. Yeah. Area Cardinal basses. Did a review of that. I got my pal Mo to buy one. It was a totally cool blue transparent. It was a stunning bass. I couldn't justify having it myself because I've kind of got basses that are too similar to it a little bit, and it's not very mad looking. Kind of, entirely unsimilar to this. A bit prettier than this, but a similar thing. Really, you get earthquakes in West Sussex. I remember talking to a guy, one of the guys I've lost contact with. I need to talk to him on Facebook. He was a Japanese guy who he has an idea that in Japan, like American guitars are worth hundreds of money and Japanese guitars are worth nothing. So me and him were going to do a wee deal where I was going to send him Les Pauls and Strats, and he was going to send me Yamahas and Arias. Kind of got lost, but he messaged me one time. Like I hadn't talked to him in 6 months. I just got a message going, "Oh, you all right? What's up here? Hell, what's up?" It's like he was in below the metal table in his kitchen, and an earthquake, and it was a pure shocker. But that was just in text messages. But I was actually talking to someone when you actually could see it. You could see the curtains doing this. Like, terrifying. 5.9 apparently. I don't know how the Richter scale works. Unbelievable. Perthshire has earthquakes. We don't. That's like, when I looked up where the tectonic plates were, like in Japan, there's about 3 or 4 different tectonic plates all join right through the centre of Japan, and it's like, well, fair enough. Whereas if you're in the UK, there's not really any tectonic plates. There's one, you're away at the middle of the Atlantic, or you're above Iceland, or you're away past into Russia, sort of thing, or Turkey, and then at the bottom you're well into Africa. So we're like 1,000 miles away from the nearest tectonic plate, but maybe we do get some. I think it would be terrifying. Oh, like fracking. Yes, I've seen some documentaries on fracking. You've seen the documentaries on fracking where there's like some towners that up here, the woman goes through and turns on her tap. Up here, yeah, so we got the hey, we got the. I'm not even going to attempt to do an American accent. There's Americans on here, but yeah, they're down the road. We've got the new fracking mines and stuff like that. And she's like up here with the tap. We're told not to drink the water because it's no longer suitable. All right, okay, so it's dodged the water. Now she goes like to a lighter, and the thing's got flames coming out it. So basically, you don't want fracking. I do believe that getting a wee bit political, Nicola Sturgeon pulled a wee trick with that. The Scottish government tried to banish fracking to make it totally against the law, and if she'd done that, then Westminster could just have turned the decision around like that. Instead, she put it out for an inquiry, which basically is going to take 10 years, and in that 10 years we're safe from fracking, so we don't get fracking here because of a little legal twist. Whereas if she'd actually just said, right, no, we're banning fracking, the government down in England would have just said, no, here we go, Loch Lomond, die. So that's enough of my politics. If you're from here, you know how to vote. Yeah, I didn't do it for very long. I can't do a Loch Ness is a joining of plates. I totally agree that it is. No, it's a separating of plates. That's why it's so deep. But not so much tectonic plate. I don't really understand. My mum used to do oceanography and used to tell me about this stuff, but I wasn't really listening. Really? New Mexico, after started fracking, became #1 earthquake. Andrew, I was being horrendous with that Scottish flag thing. I was thinking the bastards are keeping us down. But see if you go into the flags again, if you send that flag to I sent it to my pal in Denmark, and what he saw was the Denmark flag. So if you go back down into the emojis thing, the saltire is back. They've just moved things about a little bit. Yeah, okay, Sorry, Rocket Ronnie. You're right. 2 hours. I've gone over the limit. Love you all. This is the Kitsune, obviously not the devil, but I mean, it could be either. Dio, apparently. I saw a thing that was quite revelatory to me the other day. It was an interview with Geezer Butler. And Geezer Butler used to do that during the solos in Black Sabbath before Ronnie Dio joined the band. And Ronnie Dio said to him once he had joined the band, what's that hand signal he's doing? And Geezer's like, okay, yeah, it's like the devil thing would do it in the middle of Symphony Universe, whatever it is. And yeah, so Ronnie Dio, according to Geezer Butler, didn't get that hand signal off his grandmother, who used to use it to warn off demons. It was actually Geezer Butler used to do it because he thought it was funny and he thought it looked like devil horns. Yeah. Even YouTube does it, the Scottish flag. National Depress. I like that. That's worth it. You saw the Caravan in the Astoria in the 1997? I was at that gig. I was at Caravan. Oh, can't have been as early as 1997, can it? I went to see Caravan at the Astoria. And the whole time we were I don't know, 4 young guys, probably 17, 18, asking folk on the trains, we're looking for the Astoria. And as the train guys like, up here, yeah, I hope you have a good time there. I'm going to pick up some chicks. And we're like, up here, no, it's a concert. I don't think so. And he was like, and then we got there and it was in the place and it was like, why were people laughing at it? Going up here and looking at the posters of what was coming up next week. And it was like, after the gig we were at, it was the GAY club. We were like, right. And then looking at the other gig posters, it was like Mark Hammond and Erasure. And I'm like, right, okay. So really enjoyed the gig, went outside, and then above the door, and the biggest writing you've ever seen said, Britain's biggest gay bar. Like, oh, right, that's why everyone was laughing at us. Awesome gig, though. Anyway, that was the first time I saw him. Aye, that Malioko, the evil eye thing, was all apparently made up by Geezer Butler. But way older than Dio. But I was like, hey, there's not very many things that are very older than Dio. I can't play You Shoot Me All Night Long. It'll be a good one to end on. Maybe I'll just try it and see what happens. Give me the first chord. What's the first chord? Rock on, everyone. Love you all. Sweating, drunk. Yay! See you all next week. And someone swapped something with me for Trade Tuesday, so I've got a video to do. Catch you all later. End stream and the ending. Mwah! Love you all.